I always start with the same conversation all the time. What did you join Rotary for? Particularly the two new members. Okay? Why do you want to join Rotary in the first place? I mean, really. Okay? There's a lot of things you can be involved in your life. There's a church, there's all kinds of community organizations. Why Rotary? Why bother? Well, in my 29 years in Rotary, I've boiled it down to only 3 reasons. And by the way, if there's another one, tell me what it is, because I only got 3. First is fellowship, because you like the people that you're around. Your friend invited you to come, and you really like the people in the room. That's a great thing. There's also networking, personal or business. And you got to remember, the guy who started this organization is a guy named Paul Harris. And he started it with his business buddies. That's called business networking. Okay? So whether it's personal or business networking, hey, that's a reason to join Rotary. It happens, okay? But if all you want is fellowship and networking, I can give you the phone numbers for really good B&I groups or some chamber groups that you can join. You get the same thing. So why would the heck would you want to join Rotary in the first place? I mean, really? Well, I think the third one is because you want to have an impact. And by that I mean is pride in being part of a group doing projects that you personally care about, things that you see value in doing. And those impacts have 2 levels. One is your local community of the Hudson area, and the other one is worldwide impact. So that's the reason why a lot of us join Rotary, is because of fellowship, networking, but to have an impact on my community and my world. That's the reason why I want to join Rotary. Well, how do we make that impact on the community and world? Well, pretty simple. It's your club. You select projects that the community, now this is the operative word, that the community sees value in doing and that the members see value in doing. That's what you start with. And once you pick those kind of projects, then in order to get it done, you invite other Rotarians in this room and outside of this room. Look around you. You see the members of the Hudson Club. That's not Rotary. You've got 1,500 of us around you. And you've got 1.2 million of us around the world. So you're part of a large organization that's here to help you. Well, how do we do that? What's the platform to try to help you? Well, it's something called a Rotary Foundation. That is your fellow Rotarians donating to provide you a source of money on projects that you see value in doing. It's funny, a fellow by the name of Ron Bott, some of you know him, made a comment at a meeting we had the other day, and he made it just stuck with me. It was an easy way of saying it. Why do you want to get involved in the Rotary, donate to the Rotary Foundation? Because of all the charitable venues that you're engaged in, or things you can donate your charitable dollars to, it's one of the very few charities that you can have an impact as to where that money goes. You can pick the projects that you're involved in, so you can have a say in where that money goes. So, let me ask you a question. Raise your hand. Who's a Paul Harris member in the room? Okay, and wait a minute, you got 3 new ones, please.
Well,
okay, great. Anybody ever donate to the Rotary Foundation before in the past? Anybody here? Well, obviously the Paul Harris members. Okay. Guess what? Big surprise. 75% of Rotarians don't. That's an interesting fact you probably won't hear anybody tell you, because they usually try to tell you all the shiny things, but don't tell you all the non-shiny things. 75% of Rotarians don't donate to the Rotary Foundation, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they don't see the personal value connection as to where that money went. Bottom line, if you want you want $1 in my pocket for a donation, I got to see some value in that I relate to. And I think that's our job that we're not doing enough of, is to share with you where that money went, and that it's on things that you care about. And by the way, 25% of us do donate to the Rotary Foundation, so that's because we are involved in a Rotary Foundation and Rotary projects, so we actually experience where that money goes, and so can you. This is just a 1 minute. This is more for the plays. No, it's not going to play, so I'll skip it. Okay. In the Rotary world, we have 2 kinds of grants. There used to be, years ago, Rotarians have been around for a while, they used to have all kinds of things. Let's keep it simple. It's called district grants and global grants. District grants are things that are done in and around your community. Global grants are those things we do around the world. Somebody said, what does Rotary do? and you know what? It boils down to these 6 areas. A few years ago, everybody got it boiled down and says, what is the kinds of stuff you do? You're not a Lions Club, you don't deal with the blind. You're not, a food organization. What do you do? Well, these are the 6 areas of focus that Rotary does locally and around the world. Everything, the project that you've ever seen involves these 6 areas. Supporting education, providing clean water, promoting peace, saving mothers and children, growing local economies, and fighting disease. Those are the 6 areas of focus that the Rotary Foundation works on. Oh, by the way, that didn't just fall out of somebody's book. It's called the IRS code. There's a code called IRS 170. If you donate to a project that clearly falls into one of those areas of focus, it's a tax deduction. We try to streamline the grant process by having global and district grants. In our district, we have district grants that go up to $1,500, but it's a rebate, meaning in essence, we'll give you 50 cents on every dollar you spend, up to a limit of $1,500. So you do a $3,000 project, I'll give you $1,500 toward it. You do a $1,000 project, I give you $500. You do a $4,000 project, I give you $1,500.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the reason why we did that a few years back is because we wanted the clubs just to get more involved in projects, small projects that you guys do. You know what I mean? So we figured spreading more money around was maybe a better way of getting back to that original problem about where's my money going? I want to see some value for my dollar. Here's an example of some local projects. And by the way, this list is really quite long, and a lot of you can't read it, but basically, when you donate to the Rotary Foundation, you are helping other Rotary clubs in this district, including your own, do projects, a hunger project, there's a Habitat for Humanity project on there, there is a backpack project, there's a family shelter project there. Almost everything under the sun is there because those local Rotary clubs found projects that there were value in, and so we donate Rotary Foundation money toward it. Those are called district grants. Now, I'm going to tell you one where you guys did have an impact, and I want you to kind of remember this one. Okay? You guys ever heard of it before? Anybody here? Sure. Okay. Well, if you remember, what it was that the Worcester clubs started to put these cameras in front of every incubator, so that one of the worst things that can happen in a family's life is that your child needs a neonatal intensive care. But the second worst thing is you go home without the baby. So what we all did at our Worcester club is, hey, look, why don't we put special web cameras on every single incubator, and then the family can stay in touch with them 24/7, at least to start bonding with the child even before they come home. If you don't think you donated that, guess what? You did. Okay? That's your Rotary.
There's Cheryl.
Yeah. There is your Rotary Foundation. That's what your club did. Okay? You donated money toward that. Now watch. What you may not realize, and let me just share with you this, is that every time that family logs in to see that baby, they see this. Every time they log in and use that camera, they see the Rotary Club of Hudson donated that camera. Forever. Oh, by the way, a little trivia for you. Those cameras, they've now reached over 200 towns in Massachusetts, 43 states, 30 countries, and 5 continents your name is around. Why? Because the family doesn't live here. You know, you got relatives in Greece, you got relatives in some other state, in another country. So if you don't think you had an impact, I want you to think again. Your effort in that particular local community project had that kind of global impact. And it was a little project, nothing really sophisticated, but something small. But the Hudson Club got involved in it, and look what it reached. You also joined other clubs, and that's where the power of Rotary is when we all work together as multiple clubs. If you have a project that the Hudson Club wants to work on, don't sit on it. Share it with the rest of us. You got 53 clubs around you. There might be a project that, especially if it affects other communities besides Hudson, that we can join in and help you. And if you don't think it has a message, I want to share with you one. See this lady down here in the right-hand corner? Okay? She walked into a Rotary Club meeting just like this one, at the Rotary Club of Fitchburg, and she went in and thanked every Rotarian in that room for that camera, because her child was left during the winter and she couldn't get into the hospital, and it meant so much to her personally. She actually went and found the Rotary Club of Fitchburg, came unannounced, uninvited, walked into the room and thanked everybody in that room. So if you think that you're not doing things that impact people, think again. You are. And that all got done with the help of Rotary Foundation grants. We also do global projects. For example, we do water projects in Guatemala. We've done a dental project in the Dominican Republic. There's a bloodmobile project going on in India. If you just look at this list, and hopefully the president will share with you, this thing he gets every week about the list of these projects, you might find something there that you like or you're interested in. And there's no reason why, if your club is not involved in it specifically, there's no reason why you can't join the project. Because we're all working together. Oh, by the way, Hudson Club did do a global project. You guys all forget this one? You donated $1,500 from your club to help a Ukraine hospital burn center. And by the way, that $1,500 morphed into $73,000 with Rotary grant money. Now, I don't know about you, but that's what I call a pretty good return on your investment. In reality, every dollar that you donate to the Rotary Foundation literally comes back to this district in 2.85 cents per dollar back. In other words, we wind up getting more back than we're giving in terms of grants. And when you do projects, charitable projects, I think everybody's heard this cliche, but it's quite true, is that when a philanthropic organization does $1 worth of charitable event, it's like a commercial entity doing $4, because we get more for our money. The old adage is still true. Sorry about this, folks. This is my phrase. I apologize if it offends anybody. It's called, if you want to eat from the bowl, you got to feed the bowl. Which means, in essence, if you would like to participate and tap into that Rotary Foundation grant projects, we'd like to try to give it to clubs who have actually donated to the Rotary Foundation. So that's why what you heard Val say a minute ago about $100 to $125 per average Rotarian is kind of not that you can't do a project, it's just that in the pecking order of picking projects, people who have donated more tend to get the projects first, first come, first serve. And I think if you're donating to the foundation, maybe you consider that to be fair all concern. Yes?
Just wanted to clarify too, there's some people who don't donate at all, but if there's another person who donates a lot, that helps the average.
Yes. So if you
That
had,
happens in every single club in this district.
so if you had 10 members in a club, and one member became a Paul Harris member and donated $1,000, that's $100 per Rotarian.
That's it, that's it.
That's how the math gets worked. So it doesn't have to be although we'd like it if everybody contributed, just the donations help the rest of their club.
That's right.
Just as a little education background, some of you older Rotarians know all this, but I'm new members. We have 3 areas the foundation works in. One's called Polio Fund. Maybe the new members probably know about polio. You know about what Rotary did for polio?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, just a little fun fact for you that I think is really kind of interesting is, do you know that Rotary is the only nonprofit organization in the entire world that has a seat at the UN? Did you know that?
Right, we actually sent members to the UN
We
this
knew it a
year.
while back.
Okay.
We're non-voting, non-voting.
Non-voting members, but we have a seat at the UN because we were one of the founders of the UN.
So we sent a group down there this year to, these guys here went down and spent a day at the UN.
You're not a little group. So anyway, there's 3 areas. One's called a polio fund, and the other one's called the annual fund. Now, annual fund means simply this. If you donate $1 today, Rotary International keeps $1 for 3 years. And at the end of 3 years, gives it back. Now they use the $3, the 3 years to earn interest on it and help maintain it. Let's call it annual program fund. Every dollar that you donated, every single dollar that's donated gets used. Then there's something called a permanent fund. That's like an endowment. Anybody who's been involved with charities know what endowments are. When you donate $1 to the Rotary Foundation, under the permanent fund rules, that dollar is never used, ever. Just the interest on that money is used. So your dollar will last forever. That's why they tend to be legacy gifts. This is how it kind of busts up. The annual program fund gets divided between the annual fund and the permanent fund, and it comes back in buzzwords called district designated funds. Those are the things we provide the grants with, the district grants and local grants. These are what you mentioned earlier, the sustaining member. The sustaining member is $100 per Rotarian per year. Paul Harris is a $1,000 donation. And by the way, something called Paul Harris Society. And some of you may know Tom Polio, who's our past district governor. He became a major donor. You know how he did it? Almost inadvertently. What he did was he signed up on Rotary International to have $83 taken out of his credit card every single month. But guess what? After a bunch of years, he became a major donor. That wound up becoming $10,000. But it was painless to him. At that point, it was just another little thing on his credit card statement. So to the point of not necessarily being a Paul Harris member or a Paul Harris Society. By the way, $83 a month means you're winding up donating to Paul Harris every single year. So within a few years, 10 years, you're now a major donor. Because all donations are cumulative in Rotary. They keep going until they add up. Major donor is someone who's donated more than $10,000 a year or more, and Val Callahan, our past district governor, or current district governor, has
He's
this
already
year become a
taken you out of your
major
job.
donor. We thank you. By the way, if anybody's got another $250,000 they don't know what to do with, we can make you an arch development that is very verified air. Every Rotary every year is what we're trying to strive for. Paul Harris recognition, most of you have seen the recognition pins. Paul Harris Society is really a Paul Harris pin with this little feather behind it. For that, you know, if you ever see somebody with it, that means you have donated $1,000 per year. Major donors get these really elaborate crystals. And of course, you get a section of Rotary International for $250,000. Here's something I would like you to stop and think about just for a minute, is if you donated to a charity you already support with your time, and it didn't come out of your pocket, didn't affect your lifestyle, had no negative effect on your family, and that the effect would last forever, would you consider it? Well, that's something called planned giving, testamentary gifts. These are gifts that are given that are provided after one passes. It becomes a legacy discussion. There's two kinds in Rotary. One's called a benefactor, and that's someone who has donated $1,000 of their personal estate, $1,000 or more. A bequest society member is someone who's pledged $10,000 or more of their estate. And that's not as, and then you obviously get recognition for a bequest society member is $10,000. You see them little blue pins like that one. So I'm trying to tell you something I've done. Okay, so that's telling you something I haven't done. Benefactors are done like that. But here's the thing that's really startling, how simple this becomes. Is anybody in the insurance business here? Nobody? Okay, you're in insurance business. Okay. How long does it take me to add a beneficiary to an insurance policy?
Oh, yeah, talking about insurance side?
Yeah.
P&C.
Pardon?
That'd be P&C's.
Okay, but you don't know about the insurance company that set up business. How long?
Not very, not a beneficiary, sign a few dollars.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You call up your insurance agent and you add the Rotary Foundation to your insurance policy for $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever it is that you want to donate. It becomes painless and it takes about 30 seconds to do. Excuse me, 5 minutes. Another way that a lot of people do it is they add codicils to their will. It's just one paragraph, and the standard language to do that. It simply says, in my passing, I would like 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever the number is to go to Rotary International. Remember what I said earlier on, that money goes to the permanent fund, which means that is a permanent legacy for the donor. It will be there forever. Just the interest on the money is used. That's why it grows. Here's the thing that's really startling about it. Only about 8% of Rotarians even know about or do it. But it counts to be about $531 million of expectancy funds. That's a serious amount of money in my book. That little gesture, when you add up from our Rotarians, could you just imagine that more than 8% of us did it? How big that pile would be? So it is an easy, painless way to donate to the Rotary Foundation. It doesn't come out of your pocket, doesn't change your lifestyle. The effect will last forever, and all the other things I was saying earlier. In this world, there are two kinds of philanthropy. One's called involuntary philanthropy. That's called the Internal Revenue Service.
Yeah.
And the other one's called voluntary philanthropy, and that's called the Rotary Foundation. And so, by the way, if you don't have a plan, don't worry, the IRS has got one for you. So it's something we would hope you would see some value in doing. And as you start to learn more about the projects that are going around in your district, what projects you want us to help you with, that the Rotary Foundation is here to provide you some money to do those projects. So again, I want to thank you for your time, and hopefully that was, sorry, good. Anybody have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Roy? The big reason we had him in here tonight is, you know, one of my goals when I became president was to make a donation to Rotary Foundation, because you know, through pets and stuff, I found out how important that is. And as long as I've been in the club, we've never done that. But I wanted everybody here to be aware, you know, what that money does and where it goes and what good it does. And I'm actually proud that we're able to make a donation tonight. And hopefully it's something that we can continue to move forward with. And my goal coming into this year is hopefully some point we're all Harris members. So hopefully we can achieve that. And working with Val and Roy, maybe we can find some good causes to use that money that we're donating. And, you know, we've always done a lot of stuff locally, but it's not a bad thing to look beyond that. You know, I have a personal experience, and you guys all know this, that I went to Honduras last year, and when you get outside of the city of Hudson and you see the need across the world and how people live and what little it takes to help these people, you know, I think it's things that can go to a real good cause. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions for Roy? Or?
Here's one thing I did fail to mention. Remember I said the district grants are about $1,500? Global grants start out at $35,000. That means a club has to raise about $10,000, and then a Rotary District or Rotary International will contribute the rest. So your $10,000 becomes $35,000. I say this for a reason to think about this for just a second. One of the things we often tend to forget is we're a global organization. Remember, if you have a really large project in Hudson you want done, I can get you the money. You know where we're going to get it from? Because it could become a global grant for an Italian club to do a project in Hudson. It could be a global grant for a Canadian club to do a project in Hudson. There's no reason why you can't tap into that environment, because that's really what we are. So don't not do a project because you don't think you have any money to do it with, because there's 53 other clubs around you that could support you in projects like you did with the NICView project, as well as global projects, global clubs that can help you with large projects if you pick them. So we're here to help you.
And if there's any programs that are near and dear to any of you, you know, you should bring that up to us, and maybe that's something that we can do through those programs. So, did anybody have any questions for Roy?
I want to make a comment that when Roy was talking about to do a Paul Harris and how you can put in, you know, the $83 a year or whatever. I personally have been making quarterly payments just to become a sustaining member every year. And I don't have a lot of money, but I only make a quarterly payment online for $25. So $25 4 times a year, it gets taken out of my checking account automatically by the Rotary Foundation. It's not a lot, and it just keeps me a sustaining member every single year. And no matter which club that I've been in, they automatically know. And my points from that, it gets credited automatically to the club that I'm in. So if it's something you're interested in, I'd be happy to let you know how to go online to Rotary.org and set it up for you.
Is there an index of the international projects that Rotary supports?
What do you mean, an index?
Can I go online?
Yes, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, every week, of the global grants that your fellow clubs around you are doing, global grants that they're working on, and the local district grants that they're working on, is a listing that comes to your foundation chair every single week. It's your club, do what you like, but it'd be worth sharing with the rest of the members to see what projects are going on, so that there may be something there that you, new member or something, would like to get involved in. Because that's the point. The point of this whole story is we all work together here. This is not, I don't mean to put this in perspective other than the fact that the Hudson Rotary Club is this room, but the Rotary organization is behind you. And we're here to help you.
Marty, you get that email from Ralph, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I can stop bringing that in. I do get it.
It's just a listing of the grants. It's kind of very
Really
interesting.
impressive, really impressive.
Now we can maybe add that in.
No.
All right, so
Thank you.
does anybody else have questions? Cool. All right, without further